Hi everyone, thank you so much for tuning back into the Virtual Learning Labs. The Virtual Learning Labs, or the VLL, are a series of open access curated conversations that are aimed at tackling some of the upcoming areas of interest in the development sector. About a month ago, I had the chance to talk to my colleague Raghav Raheja about data readiness in nonprofit organizations. And over the course of the next few weeks, we will be uploading snippets of that conversation onto our YouTube channel. In our previous VLL, Raghav spoke about what does data readiness really mean. He gave us an introduction to the term, and in today's VLL, we will be talking a little bit more about what does it mean for non-profit organizations and why is it really so important for organizations in this sector to focus on data readiness.
So, my easy answer to this would be, to satisfy the funders. I mean, if you would have asked me this question 5, 10 years back, that would have been my probably only answer. That's to satisfy the funding requirements, but not so much right now because the ecosystem is changing. The requirement from funders as well as third parties have changed towards quick returns of not investment but in terms of the donations, right? Everyone wants to see uh, immediate impact, so that shrinkage in the timelines of the impact assessment or the social impact requires us to think about data in a streamlined way, right? If I have to show my impact within a period of 1 month or 2 months, it's very difficult for me to understand or course correct when something doesn't work. But if I have these data points in place, if I have these structures in place, I know where to work around it, right? What processes do I need to change? What processes do I need to amend? So that's one of the reasons it's very important for the organizations. And also, a lot of these organizations these days are working towards changing the behavior of beneficiaries. So, how do I understand if there's a change in the behavior? Sure, I mean, a lot of organizations might say that we use our intuition and experience to realize if there's a change in behavior, and that's well and very good. But again, is that replicable? If there's a second person tomorrow doing the same sort of exercise, would they be doing it in the same way? I mean, a lot of the decisions would be subjective. So the second person who does the same sort of behavioral analysis would come at a different conclusion looking at the same data points. So that's why it becomes very important to keep this chain of data coming in so that you have these processes in place that are standardized so that anyone who uses this data at the end of the day gets a similar sort of result. And this is all me talking about from the side of impact. But it's not just about that, right? There are internal functioning at the organization. There are multiple operations happening. There's HR, there's donor management, fund management. And I feel that as an organization, it's like a factory, right? At the end of the day, when you're producing some products, your machines need to work well. And when I say machines, I'm not talking in terms of humans, but I'm talking about these processes. I'm talking about these operations within an organization, which act as a catalyst towards the overall social impact in the society. So if my organization has a huge attrition rate and I have no way of understanding, if I'm not collecting any sort of data, if I don't have systems in place where this data goes in, I can't understand what the reason behind that is, right? If I have like volunteer management program happening and I don't want some of my volunteers to get excessive amount of work while others don't get any, right? I want this individual segregation of work amongst these volunteers. So all of these things chime in when I have these structures in place. And that's why it becomes extremely important to think about this documentation process, to think about this data readiness scheme, right? Yeah.
Thank you so much for joining and listening into the VLL. If you do have any questions, please do not hesitate to email us, and we look forward to hearing from you.